We're live. Okay. All right. So this week's parsha is Parsha Noach, and what I'm it's cut off. Better. Yeah. Okay. So this week's parsha is Parsha Noach, and what I want to discuss today is a couple of different issues. Issue number one. If you had to choose a name for your child, forget like connections to family and to family members or other people they might know about the name, would you choose the name Noach based on the life that Noach leads that we discover from this week's parsha? Or I guess the end of last week's parsha as well, but primarily this week's parsha. Meaning, is Noach considered a wonderful biblical character? Okay, that's the question I want to pose. What is your gut reaction? Yes or no? What's your gut reaction? Of course. What do you think? Yeah? Esther? Yeah?
Depends.
Depends.
Like, at the very end, it's not so flat.
No, little sketchy at the end, right?
Yeah.
No, it becomes sketchy at the end. Okay, that's good. So let's take a look at the first source. The first source says, it's the Midrash. It says, Amar Rabbi Rabbi Chaviv Moshe Minoach. Moshe is more beloved than Noach. Why? Noach Mishe Nikra Ish Tzadik Nikra Ish Adama. When we are first introduced to Noach, or basically first introduced to Noach, the first verse in our Torah portion this week says, Noach Ish Tzadik Tamim Haya B'Dorotav.
Based on his generation, he was.
Okay, hold on. No, we are going to get there. Hold on one second. So all of a sudden, the Torah begins to say, Noach, he's righteous. Ish Tzaddik, he's righteous. Now, by the end of his life, uses the word Ish Tzaddik, but by the end of his life, it doesn't call him Ish Tzaddik, it calls him a Ish Adama, a man of the ground. So there's been some deterioration. What modifies his ish, his manlyhood, in the beginning is righteousness, but by the end it is changed to Adama, to the mundane, to the ground, to the physical. Moshe, on the other hand, the first time we see him, he's introduced as an Ish Mitzri. Anybody know who says Ish Mitzri? Who identifies Moshe as an Egyptian? No, this is a very difficult question. Maybe not that difficult. Anyone know? No. Much earlier, when Moshe saves Zipporah, they go home, and the father say, "Hey, what happened?" So they say, "Oh, an Ish Mitzri, an Egyptian guy saved us from the shepherds." So Moses is identified as an Egyptian. But by the end of his life, how is Moshe identified? Ish Elokim. Oh, thank you. By the end of his life, he's referred to as an Ish Elokim. By the end, he's a man of God. So we see that Noach begins as a Ish Tzaddik and deteriorates into an Ish Adama. Moshe elevates himself from an Egyptian to a man of God. So already we see that the Midrash, the rabbis, were a little bit critical of Noach. Let's take a look at those sources inside. That's source 2, Noach Ish Tzaddik. And source 3, Vayachol Noach Ish Adama V'Yidakar. Then Noach is a man of the ground, and he plants a vineyard. Source 4 it tells us, "V'Tomar Ish Mitzitlan Miyad Haroim." The Egyptians saved us from the shepherds. And source 5, we just read on Simchat Torah, that Moshe is referred to as a man of God. Okay. Now, someone made an allusion to a few minutes ago to a very, very important idea by Noach. And that is Noach righteous on his own accord? Or is this relative to the generation? I'll give you a good example. There are certain people where the environment that they are in has a tremendous effect on them. And there are certain people But the environment they're in has a minimal effect on them. Some people are just better than everybody else, but that's a relative statement. They're surrounded by scum, and they're just better. And others, no. They are really good people, not compared to relativity else, but they are really good people regardless of who, what, when, how, and whatever. Let's take a look. Says in the Torah in source 2, this is the genealogy of the descendants of Noach, which is interesting why it doesn't do that, because it only mentions in the next pasuk, but that's for another time. Noach ish tzaddik, Noach is righteous. Tamim haya b'dorotav. He is what? Tamim. He is, what's Tamim? He is complete. He is full. Look at the word that's used. B'dorotav. In his generations. In his generations. What should have said? Just say, Ish Tzaddik. Why does the Torah say, in his generations? The Torah should just said, he's righteous, period. Of course in his generation. He doesn't live in the year 2013. Of course he's righteous in his generation. Where else would he be righteous? On the moon? Today? What's that very strange way to modify his righteousness? This leads the rabbis to have an argument. What's this argument? And again, the rabbis were very sensitive. They read the text very carefully. Look at source 6. Ela todo Noach, Noach is tzaddik, Noach b'dorotav. Ma'u b'dorotav. What do you mean his generations? By the way, it's also plural. It should have been his generation, no? Yesh dorshin l'shavach, v'yesh dorshin l'genach. There are those people who interpret this in a positive way, and there are people who interpret this in a negative way. Shavach is praiseworthy, and Genai is the opposite of praiseworthy. Tzaddik b'dorotav. He is righteous in his generation, v'lo b'dorot acharim, and not in other generations. What is this compared to? Mashal l'ma hadavar hazeh domeh. Imiten adam sela shel kesef, v'chmeas l'mishon nechoshet. If you have a coin of silver among copper, the silver coin really stands out. It is far superior to the other coins in your collection. But compared to gold, I couldn't even tell you. Gold today is at $1,300. What's silver at? I don't know, $30 or so. Can't compare. Nothing to compare it to. So that may be what the Torah is saying, that Noach, he's a relative tzaddik. In his generations, put him when he was surrounded by scum. Situations of the flood were totally scumballs. They were filled with thievery and robbery. And they lacked basic human compass. They didn't have that. They lacked that human compass. Noah stood above them. I'd like to use an example. The generation of the flood out of 10 was like a 1. And Noah's a 4. Way better than the generation of the flood. But he's just a 4. He barely makes it to a 5. Doesn't even make it to a 5. He's not even average. But he's still greatly superior to everybody else. Or, take a look. Let's continue. No, those who want to argue this is very praiseworthy. How? We have a young lady who maintains her dignity in a marketplace where there are prostitutes. And she's able to withstand the temptation and rise above. Imagine if she would have been surrounded by people who were upscale women. She would have been even better. Okay, so that's the famous midrash. Rashi picks up on this. If you take a look at 9, Rashi is similar, not quite. Rashi just adds that in his generation he was really good. If it had been in the generation, of Abraham, he would have been a nobody. That's a famous line. Now, here's fascinating. What impact does social pressure have What's the impact? Based on source 6, what's it saying? If he would have been in a generation of... He lived in the generation of the flood. He was a 4. Everyone was a 1. What impact did his surroundings have on him? Did they affect him? Did they bring him up, bring him down? Nothing had no effect on him. Careful. He was a 4. Everyone around him was a 1. Did that bring him down? No. He still, he was a little bit shinier. He was silver. Everyone else was bronze. But it didn't make his silver shinier, meaning he was a silver coin. Put silver with the bronze, better. Put silver with the gold, nothing.
Right, he stayed good. He didn't become better.
Right. He was okay. He was all right. He's a 4. He didn't become better, but he also didn't become worse. He didn't bring him down. Right? Interesting. The other comparison says what? He was what? This lady, when she was surrounded by women who had no self-respect for their own bodies, for themselves, this lady stood out. Imagine how much better she would have been had she been put in the right surroundings. So let's use numbers, right? Noach was a 4. Generation was a 1. They were all prostitutes. What happens if you put someone like this Noach, this lady, surrounded by people who are upscale, self-respecting citizens? Noach would not have been a 4. Noach would have been an 8, whatever, higher, right? Put people who are a 7, Noach would have been an 8 or a 9. Put this lady in the right atmosphere, the right education, the right social circles, she would have, where everyone else were just 7s, she would have been a 9 or 10, right? Interesting. So it's fascinating how what we see here is, was Noach a relative tzaddik? Was he a relative person who was righteous, just better than everybody else, were pretty stinking lousy? Or was he able to combat the peer pressure of his generation? And had he been placed in the right environment? The environment impacted him. He was a little bit better. Had he been in the right environment, he would have been unbelievable. Catapulted him to even greater heights. Okay. Question. My question is the following. What's this based on? Why? You don't argue. Why are they picking apart Noach? He was good, a relative. Why are they putting him over, grilling him over the coals? The answer is because look what happens at the end of his life. Can we really make him an upscale, standing citizen to the end? Take a look at. Top of page 3, source 19 at the end. Verse 20, verse Chav. Vayalcha Noach isha v'ita karem. Noach plants a vineyard. He was a man of the field, he plants a vineyard. Vayesh min hayayin v'shaker. He drinks from the wine and he becomes intoxicated. V'tigar b'toch oalo. And he basically rolls around in his tent. And what the Torah goes on to describe, which actually I don't have here, but what happens to him, he basically becomes intoxicated, he's taken advantage of, and Noach's life as we know it is over. Here's something really important about the Torah. Just because Noach's life is over doesn't mean he dies. People overlap in the Torah, but the Torah writes as if they died. You see that a lot. Many people actually overlap. I'll give you an example. When are we introduced to Abraham? It appears once Noach is long gone. But that's actually not true. If you add up their years, they actually overlap by 58 years. So Abraham met Noach, or Noach met Abraham. Or could have met. I don't know. You know what I mean, if they for sure met. But I don't know, 50 years is a long time. Now, when Abraham was 2 years old, could they have met? No. But there's enough years or decades where they could have overlapped, but the Torah, in its style, does this all the time, writes them as if they're dead. Essentially, it doesn't do anything important and it's over. Got to be very careful sometimes. People can overlap with each other, you just don't always notice it. So, what I'm trying to say is, from the Torah's perspective, Noah's life is over. Question. Can we come to Noah's defense? Can we defend Noah? You have to, you're hired as a lawyer. You want to be hired as a lawyer. You want to defend your client. Greenberg, you just charge Noach as a drunken individual, intoxicated who gets written off. I want to come to his defense. My client isn't so bad. How would you come to what could you argue in his defense? I think the best. My client was traumatized. My client went through a very traumatic experience. He went through something that wouldn't anybody have through this experience freak out, flip out. Maybe he thought the world was over. The world had come to an end. It's not such a crazy conclusion. He gets out of the ark. He looks around. Everything's dead and destroyed. Hedonism. Just drink and be merry. I just saw the world be destroyed. What do you want from me? Plant the vineyard. I want to rebuild vegetation. I want to plant. I have an excuse. It's not such a bad affair. It's not bad. I'm a good lawyer. Could argue it, right? So I think what we have to do now is we have to analyze this idea. Is that proper excuse? And by the way, when there's no one else around after the flood, after the deluge, is like a fancy term, what happens to Noah? He does deteriorate. So one could argue that maybe he did need people around him, or in contrast to them, who's great. Once there's no one else around, maybe his true colors really shine. Let's take a look. Look what happens. First of all, let's take a look at 17. When God tells Noach to build the ark, the Torah says in many different places, Vayas Noach kachol asher tziva oto Elokim ken asa. Whatever God asked of Noach did. Here are the measurements. Here's what I want you to do. God, whatever you say, whatever you want, I will do. Source 18. Look, when God tells Noah, by the way, Noach lemor, God speaks to Noah. Source 18. Verse 16. Same minativa. God tells Noah, leave the ark. Who should leave the ark? Ata v'ishtecha. You and your wife. Ba'decha, sons, and shebenecha. Your daughters-in-law, your sons' wives. Itach. Who else? All the animals. What these animals do, right? Remes hames al aretz. Let's say itach. V'shartzu v'aretz ufaru v'ravu al aretz. Go out. They should come out with you. They should multiply and they should be fruitful across the earth. Look at the next pasuk. Yudchet. Vayetze Noach uvanav v'ishto unshe vanav ito. How does Noach leave the ark? Who goes out first? Who's out first?
No.
Him and his sons.
But that's not the order that Hashem put in.
Is that interesting? God tells Noah, go out with the missus. Your sons, they should go out with their wives. And the animals should go out and repopulate the world. How does Noah, look at this nuance. How does Noah leave the ark? With him and his sons. He put up a mechitza. He put up a separation. He went out with his sons. What happened? comes to building the ark, the teva, vayas Hashem kolcha, vayas Noach kocho asher tziva uto ukim kein asa. Noach does whatever God asks of him, to the TL perfecto. That refrain, that phrase, God does whatever Noach tells him, never appears once Noach disembarks from the teva. That phrase that Noach does what God wants repeats itself, I don't remember the exact number of times, numerous times before. It is glaringly absent after. One could argue because Noah doesn't do what God wants him to do. It's that simple. It doesn't say it. It's almost as if Noah is really good at ensuring that the world will survive. Noah fails in reviving the world. He makes sure the world survives. He builds an ark, puts all what he needs on there, but he doesn't revive the world. He fails to really repopulate the world. He fails to understand what the world really needs. You shouldn't have planted a vineyard. Maybe you should have done something else. Or you should have had a little bit more self-control. He doesn't revive the world properly. Noah gets written off. Now, one question I want to ask you. When Noah is told that God will destroy the world, what's Noah's response? Even the first time we see Noah talk in the Torah, I'm not saying he didn't talk. Of course he talked. Anyway, know the first time the Torah records that Noah opens up his mouth and actually speaks. First time we see Noah talk in the Torah. It's very interesting. The first time we see Noah opens up his mouth, it's on the last page. It's not here. I did not include this. Sorry, my bad. I would say when he says it towards the end. When he opens words, he says, Vayomer Noach. Arur Kenaan Eved Lamo. The first words that come out of Noah's mouth are him cursing his own son. Isn't that wild? Oh, that's what I was looking for, but it doesn't matter. Thank you. It is in verse 9, chapter 9, Pertet, Pasuk. Vayikatz Noach 24. Noach wakes up. He realizes what his youngest son does. What does his youngest son do? The rabbis argue. Either castrated him or just slept with him. Right? Again, those two things will not ensure that there's going to be continuation. But here he opens up his mouth. Yomer, Arur Canaan, curse Canaan, Eved Avadim Yalachav. You should be a slave of slaves for his brethren, for his brothers. He blesses shame. We tried to help him. We tried to defend and help. No. Wow. The first time that the Torah records Noach opening his mouth, he curses his son. You have to be very careful drawing conclusions from things that aren't there. Be careful in the Torah. But what's interesting to note is Noach, we don't see him interacting with anybody in his generation, do we? Don't we? Nothing. Gornish. I just saw online, someone sent it to me, a really funny joke where two Protestant preachers held up big signs. And it said that the world, end of the road. Well, the road is coming to an end. So I don't know, whatever it is, right? And a guy drives by and says, "Oh, you guys are radical preachers. The end of the road is coming," right? All of a sudden, he says, "I'm driving." Right? He drives. All of a sudden, you hear a scream, like a car falls into the river. So one of the guys turns to his friend and says, maybe we should have written, end of the road to the construction, please turn around. So it's a Noach does not try and save anybody in his generation, does he? He doesn't talk to anybody. We don't see him interact with anybody. When Avram is told that there's going to be death and destruction to Sodom and Gomorrah, what's Avram's reaction?
He tries to defend them.
Tries to defend them, right? That's it. God, how can you do it? How could you kill someone righteous with someone who's wicked? It's not fair to the righteous. Story, 20. You could argue with me. You can say, big difference between the generation of Noach and the generation that Avram lives with Sodom and Gomorrah. You could say different clientele. You could argue the verses, the psukim that describe how bad the generation of the flood was and what they did. But maybe you would agree with me, wouldn't you? That if this world was filled with Ahmadinejads. Is he speaking today in the UN? This week.
Wait, what?
Isn't he speaking today, Ahmadinejad, in the UN? Isn't Netanyahu in the UN today speaking? Do you listen to news, politics? I think it's this week. I think this week there's the big UN thing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, maybe, I don't want to blame Noach. I can defend Noach again. Maybe, Noach, wow. His generation were Ahmadinejad. Don't talk to them. Don't waste your breath and your time. You're going to try and help people, convert people, improve people. Forget it. There's Osama bin Laden's, right, of Hitler's. Don't waste your time. Isn't that interesting? So he doesn't even try to defend them. You could maybe. The Pesukim say pretty bad things. Hamas, and God says that they're so bad. So maybe there comes a time. Rav Svijik maybe want to argue this. I don't want to blame Noah for that. It's not his fault. The rabbis are split. Would they critical and not critical? I just think so. I want to throw that out there because I'm trying to be critical of Noach and then defend Noach. Be critical of Noach and then defend Noach. So we saw maybe in the beginning, he's not like Moses. He deteriorates over time. Moses grows over time, right? In terms of identification. You could justify Noach. After all, he witnessed the destruction of the world. You know how traumatizing it is? He thought, the world is over. What's the point? Why go on? That's what the rabbis say. Why does Noach have to be told, say Minativa? God tells Noach, get out of the ark. Would you want to stay in an ark that's filled with smelly, stinky animals any more than you had to? So why doesn't Noah say, okay, I know the rain is over. I know that. I proved it from the dove. Doesn't return. Let me get out of here. Why he did all those tests for what purpose? Just for kicks? Let me get out now. But he doesn't. God says, leave the ark. Maybe Noah says, watch the ark for it. The world's over. Life is over. I'm so psychologically emotionally scarred for what I witnessed. I don't want to continue. And can you blame him? How many Jews said after the Shoah, after the Holocaust, saying, why continue? Why go on? For what purpose? There's the Zayga. She blames someone with such an attitude? Not so simple to blame someone with such an attitude. Right? Somewhat justifiable. But God says no. God makes Noah morally accountable for what he does or what he doesn't do. So, I think we see here, we're going back and forth on Noach, but ultimately, we are not, the world is B'nai Noach. The world is about the children of Noah, but the Jewish people are about Abraham, about Abraham. We are B'nai Avraham Avinu. Avraham goes and tries to defend Sodom and Gomorrah and challenges God. We also have to challenge God. We have to challenge ourselves, not accept status quo. So what about, do you see the cartoon? It's a cute cartoon. Did you read it? Wait, listen to me. We don't have to be just sheep. Sheep follow, right? Is that funny? Okay, fine, it's not that funny. Sheep follow. Sheep always do what they're told. But again, sheep are just sheep. So the question is, how does Noach respond to people who are around him? Is he influenced by them to the negative? Does it give Noach a sense of, I'm going to be better than them? Maybe one could argue that, you know why Noach was a tzaddik in the beginning? Maybe because everyone else around him was rotten, he just wanted to be better than everybody else. But if he really would have been this special type of person, when nobody's around, he still would rise above. And he failed to do that. So maybe he was only doing what he was doing and behaving because no one else was around. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be a 4. Everyone else is a 1. Look at me. I'm a tzaddik. I'm so righteous. When push comes to shove, at the end of time, at the end of his days, when no one else is around, he doesn't have the moral fortitude. Doesn't have the backbone. He doesn't have the ability, the emotional ability, to push away the negative thoughts and the struggles of life and to say, I'm going to revive the world. It no longer says God does what Noach tells him to do. It says almost if he says, why continue? I'm not going to have children. I'm not going to procreate. What? No, meaning that, like, but look what happened, meaning he doesn't, like his children are able to do that thing to him. By the way, no. By the way, notice the contrast. I think actually a very good point. What happens right after Adam is banished from Gan Eden? He has another child. Has more kids. Even that's a very powerful statement. He has shade, right? Even though, so Hillel is murdered or killed. What does he murder and kill? Murder is unethical killing. Killing sometimes is fine. Self-defense, war. Probably all about self-defense, by the way, right? You see George about to murder Steve. You're allowed to kill George. It's all about self-defense, right? I'm not saying, like, you shouldn't try to shoot his arm off or break his leg, right? I'm not saying you have to say, oh. You know. But murder is unethical killing. Why did I just say that? Oh, because Cain either murdered or killed Hillel. Right? Did he really know what he was doing or not? That's not for now. Doesn't really matter. And of course, we know Adam is banished from Gan Eden, from the Garden of Eden. What does Adam still do? He has another child. Some people look at like depressed and upset and rejected. No, he doesn't. Noach fails to arrive, I think, at the same conclusion. So, I think there's a lot to be learned from Noach. I always find it fascinating to try. So would you name your kid Noach? That's what I started with. Your kid Noach. I don't know. Based on the biblical character, it's not so simple, right? He ends his days. He's drunk. He's intoxicated.
It has to be after another Noach.
Right. Find another Noach. Right? Maybe that'd be better. Maybe like Uncle Noach or something was a good guy, or Rabbi Noach, right? Or Greenberg, right? I don't know. I have no idea who he's named after. I'm not sure. But I think that's I don't believe Noach is looked upon as the biblical character. When you talk about people who are ultimately really righteous and role models, I don't believe Noach is really listed up there. It appears that Noach was just better than everybody else, which is relative. When there are other people around, when other people are not around, he kind of fails. You have those people that are only good among people who are lousy, and then kind of they just want to be better than everybody else, but they're not really innately better or moral or ethical. So I think maybe that perhaps is what we're a parsha, or the Torah is using to describe Noach. And the challenge of life is not to be a Noach. You have to be able to not just make sure the world survives, make sure that it is revived. You have to make sure when things are difficult, you're able to kind of rise above the challenges of life. That is what makes Avraham. To argue for the sake of people and argue for justice, right? As opposed to Noach, who didn't argue. Of course, want to argue that everyone that were Ahmadinejads in this case justifies not talking to them, right? Which I hear, unclear exactly how he felt. We'll end with being critical of Noach, at least for sure after the flood. I think that I asked this question. I taught Breshit many years ago, but 10 years ago I once asked this as a test question. Right? Would you name your kid Noach? Justify? You did your choice. And the Ayin had to go through the entire story and prove either way, and that come to reach a conclusion. She can't cheat in that test, right? That's a great question. One question? Open book. Use whatever sources you want. Doesn't bother me. 45 minutes. Write your answer. Okay. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you next week. Partial. Thank you.